And then on this parade of terror when it comes to promos, Tony Schiavone was in the ring with Jack Perry, no longer Jungle Boy. And they play the Beethoven. And here comes Jack Perry again wandering out. But this time, instead of wandering out like he's confused like Jungle Boy did, he's wandering out just with no energy, chewing gum, carrying the FTW belt, wearing orange shorts, a black t-shirt that says I beat Hook on it, and tennis shoes. And the fans are booing him. But again, is there a way that he can appear less interested in what he's doing than he does right now when he goes to the ring?
I have no problem with it. I think he's doing fine as that, as the heel. He is right now doing better as a heel than he did as a babyface, and I don't have any problem with that aspect of it. No.
I know he did a better promo as a heel, but he's still, there's some element of low energy
but you
to
know
him.
The other issue is, and it is, and I think he's trying to get past that in his promos, because you could hear him start raising his voice, because he starts off, it's very like, Chris Makepeace, like, and I'm going to tell you another thing. Like, but then it gets somewhere. But the other thing is this, not to take anything away from Jack Perry, because I've enjoyed him so far as a heel, but we saw it with Don Callis, and it seems to have all begun with the Dominic Mysterio reaction.
Yeah.
WWE fans started booing and he couldn't talk. And then AEW fans wanted to copy that and started doing it to Don Callis. And everyone's like, look at how much heat he has, because this much older audience in the crowd is sitting there booing the way these children did at that other show. And now with Jack Perry, not to take anything away from his heel stuff, and I heard from people in the building that the boos were louder than they appeared on TV.
Yeah, because it's a thing that the crowd has decided to do now. And that's not knocking anybody. They can't control it, but it's not like they suddenly want to pull out switchblades and stab this fucking guy.
No, it's become the new This Is Awesome or Fight Forever or You Deserve It. Now it's just, let's show them they're doing a good job as a heel and boo nonstop. But WWE started it with Dominic Mysterio, and now Don Callis and Jungle Boy. This is the new trend amongst wrestling fans.
But you know what it's going to be, though? It's going to end up being the new what? Because then when people need to be saying things and need to be heard, it's going to start interfering with performances.
What would you do? I mean, you were someone who did a lot of promos where you talk for a few minutes at a time. Maybe not the same way they do it now, where it's just in the middle of the ring on a live show on TV. But if a crowd is booing like that, do you keep going or do you stop and acknowledge them?
Well, I'm going to talk about that here in a second in this promo, but I will say that the difference was, until my 90s run with the WWF, we didn't do that many live in-ring promos, and they were 2 or 3 minutes. And a lot of time, old Crockett syndication, the live interviews were at ringside. And sometimes those in TBS, I've mentioned this, the TBS studio, there wasn't a PA system. You weren't on a PA. It was a TV studio. So if you were yelling, the people could hear it unless they were doing the chanting. Remember, they do, we don't want to hear it. We don't want it. And Oldie would scream, well, you're going to have to hear it. You were just yelling. So a lot of times you weren't really trying to reach the entire arena with this long soliloquy to begin with in those days, because they were loud and they were booing and they didn't want to hear your shit when you were a heel. You just did it. But with these long, drawn out stories that started with 90s television, where then everybody's got 20 minutes in the ring, and number one, it's going to get old. And number two, at some point, people need to fucking listen. So it may be, if the AEW audience will do it to death, the WWE audience is only going to do it for Dom because they're satisfied with that. But they'll beat this thing to fucking death in AEW, and it'll get old, and it'll be a new what?
But what I was saying before, I personally was okay with this segment for this heel Jack Perry. I actually liked it up until Jerry Lynn came out.
It was odd at that point, but let's get to it. And here's where I was going to give the advice. He is better as a heel. He started the promo good, and I wrote they're doing the Dominic bit. He needs to keep the sunglasses on, and you've been saying this too. Every time he's doing that promo, he looks like an obnoxious prick with the sunglasses on. He takes the sunglasses off to look the camera in the eye, and he suddenly turns into a fucking teenage kid again.
Yeah.
He looks 5 or 10 years younger without the sunglasses. Keep them on. And in this promo, yes, he's got more oomph as a heel. He had more energy, sounded like he had more emotion. He needs to get more comfortable doing this because he was trying to cut a promo and at the same time react with disdain to the people booing him. But the way he was trying to promo and then looking at the people, and it looked like they were throwing him off. And they may have been a little bit.
Yeah, and again, we did hear that it was much louder in the building than it came across on TV, and it was loud on TV.
Yeah, so he needs to get more comfortable with doing promos and just occupying his space and taking over the ring and fucking being confident. And he needs to be able to work and react to the people with his facials or his pauses or his inflections while not interrupting his promo or his train of thought or by looking like he was thrown off. And, you know, you can do that. Again, you can be saying the same thing you were going to say if the people are getting on you, and you can acknowledge what they're doing just by changing your inflection, rubbing it into their face, and making your point and then going back to whatever, you know, a little smoother, but he's getting there. And then here came Jerry Lynn because he had been knocking ECW and he knocked Taz and his dirtbag friends. And then Jerry Lynn comes out to take up for ECW. Now, what audience?
Moxley bleeds all over the place the week of the Abdullah the Butcher Dark Side, and then they come out here defending ECW the week of the Bam Bam Dark Side.
But also, what is the demo, the big demo, Uncle Dave's demo that he likes so much? What's the age group?
18 to 49, the key demo.
Okay. ECW paved the way. What was it now? 27 years ago. So 9 years of that demo wasn't born. It's Tony being a 90s fucking Attitude Era Monday Night Wars ECW garbage match. Mark, I like Jerry Lynn.
Yeah, but can you imagine if Hulk Hogan in 1987 was confronted in the ring by Steve Stanley?
Yes. And yeah, who the fuck do you think you are, Hulk Hogan? Why, me and my brother Gene.
Me, my brother, and all of our old friends are going to come here and take care of you.
But that's the thing, is this really a hot button issue to inflame people's emotions that Jack Perry is running down ECW? Not only another wrestling promotion, but a wrestling promotion that went out of business 22 years ago. And Jerry Lynn, who is a producer for AEW, the company that's doing this television production, has to come out to take up for it. We paved the way. Yeah, we paved the way in furniture breaking and fucking drug addiction and injuries and shortened careers. So that's where Tony's head is at, making this kid hip by defending something that happened the same year of his birth. And Jerry Lynn said, you keep running your mouth and you'll get your ass kicked. And Jack said, I'm not dressed. How about next week? And that was it. Again, Jerry Lynn is a veteran, a coach there, a producer for whatever their work they're allowed to do and coaching they're allowed to do. But couldn't it be that Jack Perry fucking disrespected Hook or any other young talent that Jerry Lynn has been mentoring, and it was a personal issue rather than I'm going to defend a defunct promotion that the boss of this company is a mark for? Make it personal. So next week they're going to fight when Jack is dressed. Anyway.
Of all the people to defend ECW, Jerry Lynn. Wouldn't have been on my list if I thought of who would be the top 20 people that would defend ECW in wrestling.
The best scientific technician instead of the people. Well, that's because Jerry's still able to form a sentence instead of getting his brain scrambled with chair shots and etc.